Yeah, okay. Blizzard have listened to people on something.
I doubt it, but yes.
So, one of the nice things about Season 4, at least for PvE, is that Valor points have been uncapped. And that's overall felt pretty good, because it means you get a bit of gear in, in a Mythic Plus dungeon, and you're like, okay, cool, I can upgrade this piece of gear without feeling like a total dipshit. Because the problem that the game had in the past was that Valor was capped on a weekly basis, meaning that seasonally, overall, it was capped. And that meant that if you used your VP to upgrade something that was not a, BIS item, then you're just a moron. Right?
Yeah.
You could use your Valor points incorrectly. Whereas now that it's uncapped, I mean, it is the only thing it's capped by is your Mythic Plus rating, which, does gate overall how much you can upgrade it. But the good thing about this is it just means if you do a bunch of Mythic Plus dungeons, you can get some gear, and you can just continually upgrade that gear. It means that as you just keep on doing dungeons, you are continually being rewarded, as opposed to in the past where you could be in a position where you don't get a bit of gear from, you don't get any loot from the dungeon, you don't get any Valor points because you've already capped, and the only reason that you're doing it is to fill up the Great Vault. And that feels like the ultimate checklist content. So that was really good. They've now listened to people who want Conquest to be uncapped. Now that's interesting, and they do point out something which is important because they're very different. Because you can't acquire gear with Valor, but you do acquire gear with Conquest, right? I mean, this technically would mean, I forget what, is it 278, the Conquest gear? So I could just go grind out a full Conquest set if I wanted to.
Well,
that would probably involve me winning some PvP, which,
Yeah, well, that's a fun thing because this may be a little bit of a sidebar, but technically you could just grind out all of the Mythic Plus gear as well, because you can just do Mythic Plus all day long. So that kind of uncapped Conquest and I guess basically puts it on the even footing of you can just grind out all your gear.
With RNG being the difference.
Well, I would argue otherwise because, believe it or not, there is an element of RNG based on your opponent and based on how you play involved in whether you win PvP or not and get more Conquest faster.
Yeah, true, but I got my unbound changeling first time I did, or second time I did Tyranid Sight. It was like, what, your 13th?
20th.
20th.
It was exactly 20 because assuming every bit of loot in the table has an even chance to drop, has the same chance to drop. I'm not sure how sure that works or if that works that way in Mythic Plus. I had about a 5% chance to get it, so I got it when I should have. And I was like, that was way too much work. Goodbye, game.
Yeah, that was a motivating moment.
Yep.
But yeah, what Blizzard have done is basically listen to the PvPers and they've said, look, normally we would have some concerns about this because it would mean that somebody could grind out the Conquest set mega quick. They'd be really far ahead. This would then lead to a less competitive playing field because of, the PvP gear difference between people and all of that stuff. And they'd usually be worried about that. And they've now said that, actually, you know what? Fuck it. This is an experimental season. Let's be flexible and respond to your feedback. And I suppose this could be different in Shadowlands, in Dragonflight, because isn't it the case in Dragonflight that, Conquest gear, it always has max PvP? The upgrades don't actually upgrade the PvP item level, they only upgrade the PvE item level, which I guess could mean that, well, yeah, they'll be in an interesting, different situation. That's more something that gets them out of the current issues with the upgrade, based on the rating.
Yeah,
basically, anyway, point is, they listened there. You can just go do a fuckload of PvP and get yourself your Conquest set. And to help you along with that, there's two other things. So the Spoils of War buff has been reactivated. It will with next reset. That means that if you take place in BGs or Arena, your Conquest gains are increased 25% and Auto gains 40%, and they're going to keep it active for all of Season 4, and then for the Solo Shuffle Brawl, the minimum item level 4 is up to 278, and that's already live. So, they've been decently responsive there with the PvP front, and what's then nice is I guess for everyone, Cosmic Flux. People said, hey, this Cosmic Flux feels a little bit slow, so they've doubled it.
Sure is.
They were actually responsive to that feedback. And it's the sort of thing where, in the past, I don't feel like these sorts of fixes happened as much, so, this is nice. So what they've done is, 100% buff in PvP, Mythic Plus, and Raid, which is really good. Sad for Dakor on our team. he did like 50 to 70 Mythic Plus keys before this was buffed. But yeah, you know, it's good.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is here, it's like the Hazukosta cycle is unraveling a little bit. Where the Hazukosta cycle used to be very much kind of spot on, here's some fix, here's some fix. Now it's kind of getting like almost like a speed wobble on a bike going too fast. And it's like the wheels are starting to go, oh fuck, because they're just kind of doing crazy shit now. Like, I just double the resource you get, whatever, it'll be fine, whatever. Which I think has this kind of a little bit of an unfortunate air of, are you literally making this up as you go along? Have you any idea of what the player experience is like of all these numbers? Or are you just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks? Which is, if you're, like, it's better than them trying to keep up a kayfabe.
Yes.
We're very good at what we're doing. We know exactly all these numbers. We're perfect. If you disagree, you disagree. Now they're going, I guess we don't know. Let's just increase numbers, let people have some fun.
Yeah, they can say, we missed the mark on that. We'll double it then. That feels more reasonable. And it does. So, good. And, you know, I suppose what they learn from this, they apply in the future. One would hope.
That's the big thing of... I'm really worried that they get away with all this Season 4 stuff because it's experimental. But because they're designing Dragonflight as a new expansion, new experience, they're a little bit more... I guess a little bit more restricted in what they're willing to experiment with, because I feel like this is so much of a better sandboxy experience for people in terms of fuck, just play whatever I want, do whatever I want. It's like the idea of like the cap. Hopefully the Dragonflight PvP gearing system means that people don't just like they finally tackle the problem of PvP gear inherently makes PvP really unfun in today's more esportsy, more competitive landscape for games.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people love the old day of I've got the bigger PvP stick, so I will win in PvP 80% of the time, instead of I'm better in PvP, so I'll win 52% of the time and climb the ladder. Because I feel like there's a fundamental like philosophical distance or philosophical difference between those two types of gameplay, and hopefully they kind of stick to this one and go, yeah, we know, okay, no cap on Conquest, no cap on whatever, just play the hell out of the game, no cap on Mythic Plus or Valor, because it doesn't matter how fast you go. It's just go at your own pace, because the competitiveness doesn't matter outside of, you know, cap9where time does matter for competitiveness in PvP. Don't do it in PvE because it's not competitive. There's no, I've never seen it. I'm sure there's no Realm first plus 20, unless there is. Maybe there is. I don't remember.
No.
Do you remember seeing one?
I don't think there is.
Just make it a high score race instead, and then you're going to have a better time. I think generally you'll have a more happy experience. I think. I hope. What do I know?
We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. So, look, probably short term good. We just need to see what this looks like in the long term. That's the thing. Like the other experiments they've done, should maybe, because I don't think I'll be hopping into that much rating. I'm not really sure, but like, you know, the dinars, the upgrade system with raid gear, like, it's all very interesting. The question is just, you know, what will they actually keep on?
Yeah, that's the thing that's frustrating with the fact that it's Season 4 and there's no like super fast catch up, which I'm still torn on whether super fast catch up's a good idea in the long term. But for Season 4 as an example, because I didn't play a super amount of Season 3, I'm just sitting on like my pal and going, hello, can I join anyone's Castle Nathria run on normal, please? And just getting declined all day long. Because it's like, oh, okay. Okay, I guess my level's too low to do the new raid, so I can't engage with the new raid system whatsoever. And that was obviously last week. This week is now Sanctum, so I've kind of missed. And there's a short season. It's like, fuck. What do you do? It's like, it's a little bit of... they may have slightly bad data from the experiment because of a couple factors that shouldn't impact the future. I hope they have the time and energy to look at it and go, okay, let's consider all the factors around why this data is the way it is. Because I think that's one of the things I assume from them in the past. This is what I assume, not specifically speaking of Blizzard or any of the O team. I think this for anyone who's involved in big data and data science, I think there's a massive amount of interpretation of data that can go extremely wrong extremely quickly if you're looking for something as opposed to taking it completely with an empty sort of mind and thinking of every single thing I feel like that's probably one of the big problems of like
There's a lot
why
of,
games feel soulless in design, because
What
it's
gets measured,
data.
gets managed.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, you produce those numbers, but were people happily producing those numbers? And, well, Corthia probably produced a bunch of numbers and then very
Yeah.
quickly didn't. Yeah.